buying and selling. Are you with me? Revelation 13, so that no man might buy or sell, save that he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. You see, it's all about evolution and controlling how the money is changed hands. So here we have this company called Verifone. And they have a product called VX Evolution. I want you to look. They have what's called the principles of evolution. And I want you to notice how they've crafted, number one, we're dealing with the theme of evolution, and how they've crafted the V and the X. Do you know what that logo is? Here it is right here. It's the Masonic square and compass. And this particular square and compass shows you the 33 degrees of Scottish Rite Masonry and the 13 degrees of the York Rite of Masonry, and both ends of the compass are touching these two columns called Jachin and Boaz. In the Bible, these are the two columns and the front porch of the temple. Remember, the Bible says the temple is the human body. And here are these two columns, and Jachin is 23 cubits tall, and Boaz is 23 cubits tall. That's 46, number of chromosomes where our DNA is stored. Okay? And on one column is a globe of the earth, and on another column is a globe of the universe, or the heavens, the stars, the angels. And they're all mingled together in the 46 chromosomes that are represented by Jachin and Boaz, and the 46 levels of both the Scottish Rite and the York Rite of Freemasonry. I'm telling you, that symbol is about evolution, because the joining of the compass and the square produces a letter. Produces the letter G. That happens to be representative of a number, by the way. That's the number 7. It's the 7th letter in the alphabet. Read Revelation 13 and you might understand why. Moving right along here. Here's the next page of Verifone's VX Evolution thing. It says it began with great genes and evolved into genius. Now I want to stop right here. I want you to kind of think about this. This is kind of some new thoughts with me, but I think I'm on the right track here. Here we have God creating Adam and Eve, and they're in the garden, and they have access to the tree of life, and they're going to live forever. Here's the dragon, the devil, the serpent. He comes and he speaks 46 words, and he plants his corruption into the bloodline of mankind. It's kind of like when you take yeast and you put it in dough. Okay? Now, the dough doesn't go poof. It takes time. Okay? It takes a long time until finally the leaven has come to the full. Okay? Or you see, we've already talked about how this all represents like a birth. On the back of the $1 bill, he favors the birth. Annuit coeptus. He favors the birth of a new world order. And so look at this slogan again. It began with great genes and evolved into genius. It's about man becoming gods. Cars, BMW, cars that are named Evolve. Okay? This whole theme of Evolve. HTC, it's one of these Android phones. Stop, think about this. You know what the word Android means? It was a word coined, I can't remember who did it, but a science fiction writer. The word andro means man. Okay? And so android we always apply to like a robot, like Data on Star Trek. He's a robot who wants to become human. Okay? He wants to, there's this mingling of humanity and technology together. And so Google, you know, the world power of the internet, writes software code that they put on cell phones called Android. It's these so-called smartphones, which, by the way, just released yesterday, coming out big today, that apparently on every one of your smartphones, I don't have a smartphone, by the way, I have a dumb one. On every one of your smartphones, they found a code in there that's been writing down everything you've said, everything you've done, every place you've been, every picture, everything you've done. On that phone recorded it, sent it off somewhere. Who knows? HTC, and their brand name is Evo. Remember, it'll come to a day when we won't be holding our cell phones up to our ear anymore or doing this. We will evolve and have the technology within us. Shoes name Evolve. Here is, I even found like fishing gear called Evolve, and notice their logo here. You have the chimpanzees turning into the upright man, who then turns into the great fisherman. It's all about planting ideas of Evolve. I want you to watch a commercial. This portion of the Watchman video broadcast is brought to you by Gatorade. Take a look at this commercial. If you want a revolution, you must evolve. Take a look at it.
Throw your hands up, pitch your fist with pride. Hold your head high, no need to hide. E-V-O-L-V-E. Come on, get inside, come on, ride with me. If you want a revolution, the only solution, evolve. You gotta evolve. If you want a revolution, the only solution, evolve. If you want a revolution, the only solution, evolve.
A revolution is coming. By the way, they used this same idea. There was a movie that came out this year called Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Apes. Okay? And I remember somebody said, Pastor Mike, you got to see the trailer for that. I remember watching the trailer, and the theme for the theatrical trailer, it was on YouTube, says, there can be no evolution without revolution. I want you to remember that. You see, the word revolution has the word evolution in it. It's hidden, it's secreted in there, it's occulted in there. So you hear about revolution all the time. Themes of evolution and or revolution, they all deal with the same thing. The idea that there's going to be this massive chaos and then a paradigm shift, and all of a sudden we're going to be gods one day. We're going to have our seed mingled. Okay? And so I'm watching this movie, Planet of the Apes. I'm watching this theatrical trailer, Planet of the Apes. And I watch it about 3 or 4 times, and I get it. I get it. I know who the apes are in this movie. They're us. You see, one of the New Age theories about evolution, and Blavatsky was keen on this. This is why she didn't like Darwin. Darwin just left everything of a spiritual nature out of it. Blavatsky said, not so, young Darwin. Blavatsky believed, kind of like what you hear from even science writers, not science fiction, science writers, is that how did life get here on the earth? They said it was seeded. It was deliberate. That these space aliens, or whatever you want to call them, put man's original... If you see the movie Mission to Mars, it's exactly what that's about. The Martians need to survive. They plant their DNA all over the earth so that it will evolve one of these days and be able to go to the same ascended place that they are when they've evolved high enough. It's everywhere. Okay? But the whole thing about Planet of the... And I caught this little screen capture. The corporation that manipulates the genetic system in these monkeys to give them this ascended ideology and this self-awareness is called Genesis. It all goes back to as it was in the days of Noah. Video games coming out. This one called Deus Ex, Human Revolution. Notice the human creature, he's grown wings. He's a spirit. Now he's a god. Do you know what Deus Ex means? God within. Think about all the things that you've heard maybe from churches or religious meetings where they talked about, the God within you. Contemplative prayer is all about tapping into and unleashing the God that is already within you. That's the tares that the enemy sowed a long time ago. The leaven, a little leaven that leavened the whole lump. Okay? Brian McLaren was one of the key leaders in the emerging church movement, leaders in contemplative prayer, who talks all the time about paradigm shifting and about evolution and about revolution, and things must change and things, we're progressive, we have to go to the next level. That's who Brian McLaren is, and he's part of a dialogue called The Advent of Evolutionary Christianity. I want you to notice that they have the so-called Christian fish logo superimposed over the fossilized skeleton of an ancient sea creature. Kind of think about that for a while. Panel number 4, Evolving Church, the Advent of Evolutionary Christianity. Somebody sent me this week and they were saying, Pastor Mike, what is this? Okay, it's about evolution. It's a movement called Verge. It's actually one of these conferences for emerging, contemplative, liberal, hippie church people that says, oh, we got to change everything. The Bible, it's not the Word of God. It's the biblical narrative. But we think God is bigger than, we think that God is within sight of us all. And so they named their conference Verge. You know what that is? It's just a shortened form of the word converge. That means these up here are going to clash and bring and join with these down here. Heaven is going to meet with earth. We've talked about that. They shall mingle themselves, converge themselves with the seed of men. And so you see the 3 stripes there in the word verge. That's what this is. Okay? It's a triple helix. Evolve Student Ministries. Notice the half circle over the letter E and under the letter O. That's as above, so below. That's the convergence of the 2 kingdoms in Daniel chapter 4. Here we have a church called Revolution Church. Remember, the word evolution is veiled inside the word revolution, and I'll show you that in a minute. Here's a church called Evolve, with one letter E pointing this way and one letter E pointing that way. They're showing, let me show you what that looks like. They're showing opposites. Here's the eagle, the double-headed eagle, the Masonic eagle, which Albert Pike says, well, this represents the heavenly kingdom and this represents the earthly kingdom, and they have converged into one body. See how simple this is? And remember, just stop and think about this. Christianity is supposed to believe that God created everything. And now they're bringing evolution into the church. They've been doing it for years. But not just the evolution that says, well, God created us as monkeys and then we, kind of progress from then. That's not that kind of evolution. The kind of evolution that's in the church now says, it's not about where we came from. It's about what we're turning into. We're becoming gods. Everything is changing. A paradigm shift. The Evolve Church. Here's another one. Evolve Church. I want you to notice the letters E-V-O-L. Okay? It's the word love spelled backwards. I want you to remember that because that seems to be like one of the keys of discerning what this is all about. Backwards love. That's like harlotry. It's the opposite of God's pure love. But Evolve Church, and I want you to notice their symbol. They have this cross here. It's an X chromosome is what it is, and I want you to notice that they have the square and compass pointing in toward the center point of this. Okay, on both sides. But also, I want you to kind of look at this for a minute, and I'm going to give you about 5 seconds, and I'll count it down for you. See if you can see a veiled swastika. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's there. Swastika. That's Adolf. Those churches belong to Adolf Hitler. Let me tell you something. Remember, Adolf Hitler was a product of the occult revolution that took place in the 1800s. And Adolf Hitler was by no means a humanist. By no means was he a Christian. He was an occultist. He was being led and geared by the Thule Society. This group of people was in contact with familiar spirits. And they took an ancient symbol called the swastika. That was a symbol which represented the key to immortality. A swastika is basically an X chromosome